Good to see you.
Oh, yeah, great to see you too. And to talk about a topic that I know we're pretty passionate about. We've been talking probably since May, April time about the area of the power of the platform really when it comes to catalysts in the Cisco Meraki dashboard or Cisco networking cloud, and how what we're doing from a Cisco partner perspective, how you're talking to customers about some of the pain points, some of the challenges and problems that they have that really could be solved by taking a platform approach to their Cisco Catalyst investment of switches, globally at scale. But yeah, I guess start off with really, what do you see when you speak to customers and around some of the problems that they have with their standalone Cisco Catalyst switches, at campuses, at branch environments? I mean, I'm certainly fortunate enough and grateful enough to speak to customers most days, and they highlight areas that I feel that there is a solid solution for. But it'd be great to hear kind of what you hear on a regular basis on those problem statements.
Yeah, I think from my side, the genesis of this was that you and I just ran into the office.
Yeah.
Although we have very different geographies, right? Especially me, I have some different customers, different challenges. What was quite humbling for me was how there's so much of an overlap with you in the UK market and me, well, previously in Saudi Arabia, but certainly now Qatar.
Yeah.
What are customers looking at? And that overarching reach, which is how can I go faster? How can I not get caught out by the punch I don't see coming, right? Which is fundamentally what causes unexpected downtime. I always think downtime is fine. We will have it in our daily lives. It's called holiday. But when it's unsanctioned downtime, unsanctioned time off, that's when we have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So for me, really, the conversation with you was quite empowering, quite insightful, because what strategies are we using to make sure that our networking investment is working? It's enhancing our experience. And ultimately, we are being proactive and not reactive to issues.
Yeah.
I don't know how that sounds to you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, if I think about my, with my Cisco network engineering hat on, because that's kind of my background for the last 20 years, a key area that was always a bit of a challenge for customers with standalone infrastructure that didn't have that, let's say, observability layer or monitoring layer, was being able to do some of even the basics. For example, knowing that a switch has gone offline or that it's not delivering services anymore. When it's obviously in a standalone environment. And the thing, obviously, what we're going to touch on in a minute is how can we solve some of those observability monitoring challenges, things around, even if I think about when I got tasked with manually software upgrading hundreds of Cisco Catalyst 3850s and 3750s, even way back to ones I don't even want to say in my age, but like hundreds. It was a very manual, mundane, repetitive task to do that at scale. So even with that particular challenge about keeping software patched for either cybersecurity reasons, for obviously new enhancements that come in software, or even just things like bug fixes, those some of the problems that I really do feel this exciting era of cloud catalyst within the Meraki dashboard in the two flavors that are available in cloud management really does solve some multi-decade challenges that I've been witness to with the customers that we've been working with.
Yeah, I agree with you, and you kind of hit a pain point for me, which is manual software patching, which has to be done. It's essential. It's a business continuity piece.
Yeah.
If it's not patched, if it's not up to date, that represents risk, right?
Mm.
But also, it's time consuming.
It is.
I think, frankly, that's where you can get a lot of return on investment and that's where I think your low-hanging fruit for operational excellence and efficiencies lie.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it reminds me of the call I had this morning, actually, with a global customer, 70 offices, and they mentioned that typically their time to patch is 12 months. They have Catalyst switches within that global footprint, that install base, and immediately it made me think of getting those Catalyst switches into the Meraki dashboard could probably reduce that 12-month period right down to probably, with governance and change control and change board, maybe a month. And even that is a significant improvement if we think about things such as increasing operational efficiencies and excellence, just even the basics being solved with that layer of management capability that now the Cisco Meraki dashboard provides for Catalyst technology.
So guide me a little bit on this one. This is a customer that's currently not connected, that they're manually doing everything.
Correct, yeah. So they're doing the traditional kind of method that I did as a field engineer, which effectively is manually transferring that bin file, that iOS XE file to every single Catalyst switch, old and new. But it's a very manual process. It can consume literally tens and tens of hours, whereas with now the Meraki dashboard for those devices in cloud management, both device local config as well as cloud config, it's going to do all of that heavy lifting. So if I think about, a top number of what that increase in efficiency would be, you're talking probably upwards of like 90% time saving on just the pre-provisioning of those software images that would manually have to be done on a one-by-one, fairly kind of draconian way. Whereas this obviously helps those customers speed up that patching, which then improves their security posture and then increases and improves their overall operational efficiency. And I think the fact that a lot of customers I speak to don't realize that they can do this today free of charge. So if they've got a DNA Advantage or a DNA Essentials license, it's still valid. And obviously every customer that purchases Catalyst switches purchases a 3-year one. They can, for no cost and barrier to entry, they can add, these Catalyst switches to the Meraki dashboard, start benefiting from, the basics such as being able to software upgrade, being able to track and monitor when certain things happen to those switches using really powerful capabilities such as webhooks, which I'm a massive fan of. We integrated into our NOC about 4 or 5 years ago. And then, that scalable, centralized management piece, I think, is the key fundamental there. And again, coming back to the free of charge, because I think that's another barrier removed for customers that are not benefiting necessarily from DNA licensing today.
Yeah, and I think one of the key points here is that this customer made a commitment to Cisco many years ago, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm going to slightly plagiarize G2.
Okay.
Because I think he said it better than me, but I think Cisco is that company which the investment you make compounds. It gets better and better as you go along. And you've hit the nail on the head there. That costs no money to onboard onto the Meraki dashboard, to monitor, to be able to look at events, to look at configs, images, or even just the basic topology, right? Like, where is this switch and what's happening on this port? And I think an example of how Cisco are respecting the investment that customers have made and taking it to another level.
Incrementally adding more value and benefit, quarter on quarter. And I have absolutely seen that. As been personally an early adopter within some of my lab environments, because obviously we do a lot of innovation creation around the Meraki dashboard API, as well as other APIs are available, like Catalyst Center. But certainly specifically with the Meraki dashboard API, we've had a number of Catalyst 9300 switches in both modes, and since I would say probably not up to over 3 years now. So when the 5-year vision and strategy was launched by Cisco for the networking era, we were all in, and we wanted to make sure we were at the cusp of what's coming. And I've seen that on the Meraki dashboards that I log on to pretty much on an hourly basis. It feels like some days. It's seen those extra capabilities and features coming through. So yeah, to your point about treating and respecting that investment that customers have made, and continually improving, continually adding capabilities, and not to steal the thunder, but also to reference a really good analogy that G2 mentioned, was that products are in one of two states. They're either incomplete or they're obsolete. Now, having a kind of my product management hat on for the software suite that I look after, no one ever wants to have an obsolete product, right? It always needs to be continually improved and developed. So being incomplete is absolutely what I would class, the Cisco network and cloud pieces. It's just going to evolve and get better over time.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I like to use the mobile phone analogy, because every so often, right, your UI gets that much better. Your selfies look that much sharper, right? Like my ring light thing. But it's the same thing on your networking. And we've spoken about Catalyst coming onto the dashboard. But then looking into the future, right? So you mentioned webhooks. Webhooks is a great way to get further granularity than
It
just
is.
using SNMP. You've got
Really is.
continuous flows. You've got key metrics, not just a sporadic snapshot, right?
Yep.
So for me, looking at this, looking at the AI bots, which is in public beta, by the way, you're able to get more insights, have more of a proactive approach to fault finding. And what everyone wants to do, which is go faster. I don't want to be fighting fires. I want to have my fire extinguisher ready, or ultimately, I want the dashboard to tell me what to do. And that's got a lot of benefits, right? Because if I have a new network admin or someone who's not familiar with my building, my procedures, or Cisco, that onboarding time, that ramp up period with the ergonomics of the dashboard, but also with the inbuilt AI, with the manuals and the visibility, that onboarding time goes from this to this.
Yeah.
Which means someone goes from, they're learning to run a lot quicker, I would say.
Yeah, and I think you made me just think of a capability or a feature that I added probably maybe about 6+ months ago. I was super excited about as a geeky networking engineer was about intelligent packet capture, because the amount of times out of hours, maybe on weekends or on evenings, that I would have saved time by having that capability available on Catalyst switches. So this is something that traditionally on a Catalyst switch, when it's in standalone, you have to get onto the switch. You have to configure an RSPAN port, send obviously that traffic to a laptop patched in via Wireshark. Whereas obviously now with Catalyst switches in either mode on cloud management on the Meraki dashboard, you can do intelligent packet capture. So effectively from anywhere in the world, rather than me having to be in a dirty, sweaty comms room, can actually hit packet capture via the Meraki dashboard. Or actually, intelligent, come back to your point about AI, is where it can spot trends, potentially in the future. It can actually start capturing without human intervention. Now, I remember for a very big brand that I won't name, where I had challenges with a project maybe about 7 years ago, where there was this random issue that would occur at 9 p.m. every evening, and we needed to do packet captures to diagnose the problem. It was the only way to do that sort of detect and resolve. And every time that we patched the laptop in remotely, someone would accidentally move it, or it would go into hibernation. So we never got those packet captures consistently. Whereas with obviously the capabilities coming into the Meraki dashboard for Catalyst, could just schedule one to start up and then come in the morning after my coffee and be able to have a view of that intelligent data through that packet capture. So yeah, I think it's coming back to kind of what benefits and value is delivered by putting these Catalyst 9300s, 9200s into the Meraki dashboard. And these are some of them, is enabling and providing more tooling for network teams, IT teams that don't have that today, with them being just purely in that standard standalone operating mode.
No, I truly believe that. And I think coming back to it, it's saving time. Maybe some of us don't like to do all of the packet capture manually. It's like you say, it's not the most glamorous of jobs. And I believe that Cisco's mission is to free passionate people to do what they do best. And perhaps that is not packet capture. I would also look at the wider Cisco ecosystem, right? Because it is that one-stop shop. It is that one Cisco story. And putting that into something which people would, a network technician would benefit from, a security specialist would benefit from, is you have your infrastructure. Now, that can capture data, that can keep you safe, that can do your quality of service, everything. But then you've got a beautiful vehicle, and like you've alluded to, for webhooks, which is WebEx, the WebEx bot integration. So when an event happens, I have the right vehicle to present the right teams with the right security and make sure that the right people have access to the right tools to do their job as quick as possible. And as an example, we have WebEx on our phones. We have bots. So anywhere in the world, doesn't matter. Problem happens with a switch. Power supply goes down.
This is it. This is, you've hit the nail on the head. So that's why we wanted to move away from SNMP 4 or 5 years ago to Meraki webhooks for our Meraki managed service customers. But now with the benefit of Catalyst in the same platform, you're spot on. It means you get more granular alert types. So rather than just SNMP, which is switch up, switch down, which isn't overly useful, there are obviously there are alert types that can be sent out for things like the secondary power supply has failed, or it's even moved over to the secondary power supply. Now you wouldn't get that necessarily from SNMP, just monitoring a device up or down, but you get that level of additional granularity. And you mentioned about integrating webhooks with WebEx. Now, what we've done is we actually integrated it with our ITSM, so a platform called Autotask, very similar to sort of ServiceNow. But when a customer's Catalyst switch has any problems outside of just being up or down, it's that we'll get an automatic ticket creation in our platform, so we can proactively respond to things that aren't just severity P1 up or down, which has been it's been really exciting, and working with Meraki product management to see what we can do kind of next with webhooks. So these are kind of, I guess, that coming back to that observability and management and monitoring plane that you can obviously get with having those Catalyst investments in a management platform. So yeah, it's a really, really exciting era that we're moving into. The velocity, I think the velocity of capability and features that came out of San Jose Cisco Live was fantastic. I think I had to probably take a day out of my diary just to absorb how much is going on within the secure networking space.
Yeah, and look, I think it goes without saying that everybody should watch that keynote. Very excited about AI Canvas for a co-working space to test things, to try things out, and specifically Cisco's agent dedicated to networking. And I think I've not been this excited about something in a long time.
About networking, there's always stuff to get excited about in networking. Networking's cool. I just think it's just unfortunately networking hasn't had that kind of level of elevation over the years. But I think on that excitement piece, because the area that I obviously have invested in heavily as an individual, but also as an organization, is about how do we capitalize and exploit the Meraki dashboard API to deliver better customer experiences, to deliver quicker ROI or time to value of these investments. So what's something we actually started doing about 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago, is utilizing those same APIs that we've been creating solutions for, but actually extracting value from those Catalyst 9200s, 9300s, for various different business and technical problems we've been solving, but actually the innovation opportunity on this new exciting kind of architecture. And obviously with now Cisco secure routers, the 8K routers coming into the Meraki dashboard, that's another architecture that's all going to be accessible via that Meraki dashboard API for kind of exciting partners like ourselves that are innovating.
And tying it back to your customer that called you this morning, so based on the high level discussion that we've had, currently he has a standalone Catalyst that's working, what we expect from Cisco. But from what we've said, he can get his diagnosis. He can have him on the Meraki app, so he can see it 24/7, anytime, any place, anywhere.
Yeah, wherever he is. Yeah.
And you've got your webhooks, so even you can have Cisco WebEx. He's taking an infrastructure which is, let's say, quite isolated now.
Yeah.
He's allowing it to talk, to tell you meaningful things. So it's not death by data, which I think is something that you can run into now. You get meaningful data. Tell me about something when it's gone wrong. And I think that's the key thing. And from what you said, that time taken to realize value, all you need is a couple of the power supply's gone. Something's happened in this port, or even in an office environment, right? People moving their chairs back and forth, they're going to break a cable at some point. It happens.
Yeah.
But understanding that much quicker really does pretend to, it saves you a lot of money on that total cost of ownership.
It does, and I think it's that kind of harmonious kind of combination of Cisco Catalyst, which has been a super mature architecture and solution for multiple decades, and then bringing what I was excited about in 2012 skilling up in the Meraki world was around simplifying technology. So that's that kind of a harmonizing of those two traditional architectures or two existing architectures and bringing them as one. I think that's kind of where the excitement is that there's that unification.
And I think, what does that mean to the user? I think there's no blind spots. It doesn't matter where you are, the edge, problems with the ISP, problems with your SaaS. Well, you've got Thousand Eyes embedded on the dashboard. And we've talked about the infrastructure, then we can talk about wireless. Well, how are we getting people's identities? Who's coming into my wireless? And of course, there's Cisco ICE, different ways to do this, but there's also Access Manager.
Yeah.
And it's that single one-stop shop from identity to ISP that I don't believe anyone can give you that level of visibility.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think what's funny is that I think you and I said this is going to be a punchy 3-minute video, didn't we? And I think I knew we were going to be talking for a long time because we, very passionate about the area that Cisco's navigating in. But I think if we were kind of to leave, a kind of takeaway for me, it would personally be, and like I advocate to all customers over the last few years, is try it. So put a single Catalyst stack or even a standalone Catalyst switch into the Meraki dashboard. Obviously touched on the fact that there's no cost involved if you've got DNA licensing today, and just test some of the features like intelligent packet capture, software image upgrades, as well as some of the monitoring like we've touched on with webhooks. That would probably be my key takeaway, let's call it, or call to action would just be test it today, trial it, and then start small, and then maybe pilot, and then scale out to the rest of the Catalyst install base.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think that should be the call to action. 92s, 95s, 93s, come into the dashboard, see what diagnostics you can get, DNA essentials at the minimum. Let's make sure we just hyperlink the documentation in the comments. Absolutely. Because it's a very easy onboarding process.
It is, and actually interesting. We talk about how do we help customers navigate to cloud, and for those customers, like the one I spoke to this morning, that is very lean IT, and I think that's a general trend and theme over the last, I would say, 5+ years. Really, is IT teams are getting leaner and leaner, but expected to do more and more. So we're trying to support in that space by helping customers accelerate that Catalyst adoption to cloud. So yeah, we've built what is called a cloud management package, and it effectively means we will onboard very quickly up to 300 Catalyst stacks. So not 300 switches, 300 Catalyst stacks. But yeah, we've tried to be really lean on it ourselves, and under £4,000 to onboard 300 Catalyst stacks. So that's Catalyst 9300s, 9200s, and just again to provide that kind of help and guidance in this early stage of what I see is kind of an exciting era in cloud networking.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's doesn't cost any money if you've got DNA essentials and you've got your pathway there. So it's risk mitigation.
Try to make it a no-brainer. Try to make it a no-brainer.
Exactly.
Also, I think been awesome speaking to you. I definitely would love to do this again, because I think it's very easy for us to get excited about lots of different topics in the secure networking space from Cisco.
Indeed, mate. Some really good announcements coming. I'm very excited to the future of networking. So, awesome. Thank you very much, mate.
You're welcome.